Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wind Down with Yana, the place where we sip, savor, and uncover the stories with the wines we love. I'm so excited to have you join me tonight as we pour our way through tonight's live. I'm just going to get started with the wine because that is always the feature. So I have a Sauvignon Blanc. It is 13% out of New Zealand. So let's see if I can do this right. Me and these twist tops. Oh, got some action. Let's go ahead and get this to where we got a good pour. And if you're here, Twister better, so funny. Hey girl, thanks for joining. I hope you have something to drink. And I'm not using my branded wine glasses tonight, just to show a little support for one of my favorite wine tasting rooms that was impacted by the LA wildfires. So there's to them. I'll be drinking out of this. Well, I've been drinking out of it since the fire started. I was really sad about it, but you know, they'll be back. Rosenthal is they're gonna thrive and they'll get back. I feel like one of the craziest things about it is the fact that they have this huge table and chairs out front of the tasting room and they're still standing. So that was enough hope for them to say, we got this. So uh thanks for joining me. Let's go ahead and see how this wine tastes. And I do like Sauvignons from New Zealand, so I hope this is good. Smells delicious. It's crisp. Oh, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. It's not too sweet. Little dry. Which is perfect for me because we all know that I do not like sweet wines. This one is an exotic tropical fruit with a fresh and herbaceous character balance with zesty passion fruit and a dry finish, crisp and refreshing wine that demonstrates true terrier characteristics of the soil and the area. Really good for 13%. So you get you a nice little buzz. Get you a nice little buzz off of this. So again, thanks for joining me. If you're here, just say hi in the comments and let's get ready for this. So for those of you who have been with me for any amount of time, you have noticed that I took a small break, and it was mainly due to the climate that was going on in California. We had some wildfires that started on January 7th, and this was completely out of the ordinary of what we get. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. It was out of the ordinary and it was definitely emotional. It was very emotional. When it started, we all heard about it on the news. Hello, Ken. And uh, I don't think anyone thought it was going to hit the level that it hit. And when I had gone to bed that night, the last thing I saw was the football field and the baseball field of my high school was on fire. And it was crazy to see the newscaster broadcasting this fire and just seeing him stand on the street that separates the school from the football field and just the way the embers were raining on him. And it was a little emotional. And I said, okay, I got to close my eyes and stop watching this because I became a little obsessed. I started going down this rabbit hole of looking at different things that were happening, and to wake up the next morning and see that it was still burning, and the back of my school was completely just engulfed in flames and burned, and how it just spread through the Palisades area. And then the next day, Altadena and Pasadena were on fire. And just hearing so many people that I know directly, or, even the people that I didn't know were affected, and seeing how some of them were trying to save their houses. Uh, it just, it really took this toll on me where I couldn't, being an empathetic person naturally, it really affected me in so many different ways. I felt waves of guilt, that I was okay. I felt a lot of sadness for people that were looking for their relatives because they didn't evacuate when they were told. And I was having a hard time processing. And I had to take a beat and focus on myself a little bit. And it was rough. It was really rough. I had a therapy session just to kind of talk things through, make sure that my mental health was okay. And she gave great tips. I was able to get it out. And then um that was on a Saturday. And then that Sunday, I went outside and I see a damn fire like a couple blocks away from my house. Thankfully, they got that out before it spread too big, but it just was like, oh my gosh. So the way that everything was transpiring was just a lot for me. And the air quality was bad. So things were just not normal. The guilt had me to where I was donating money to every GoFundMe that was popping up on Instagram. It was just like, because you don't know what else to do. So tonight is dedicated, to anyone that has felt anything like me, with coping with, surviving any type of, you know, negative things that have been going on. It's natural to feel survivor's guilt. And that is the one thing that my therapist and I were discussing, because I, like I said, I cry on movies when I see certain things. So, of course, when it's something that's real, it's going to affect me in a different way. The emotional experience of living through a disaster while watching neighborhood communities face destruction, um, whether through news, social media, or firsthand accounts, can create an overwhelming sense of hopelessness and sadness. It can feel isolating to be safe while others are in danger. And this paradox can lead to confusion about how to process those feelings. Uh, the heavy feeling of knowing that you're safe and relatively unaffected, um, it's almost like you question, why am I okay? And I did a couple of times where it was just like, damn, how's that fair? That people are really going through this. Like, people have lost so much. And I'm it's still sad because you see these people, and you see people that don't even live in our state. And I think that's the part that bothered me, is the fact that we had people going, oh, what about the people here? What about the people there? And it's like, what we're going through does not diminish anything that has happened anywhere else. Because when Hurricane Katrina hit, I felt, sadness over that. I am never one of those people that's just like, oh, I'm worried about my own. I feel sad when anybody goes through anything. Um, People like Japan, they had this huge earthquake that hit. I felt bad for that, seeing all the way the disaster hit. These people were trapped in buildings for days. So it's not just isolated just to my state, but just to see a place that's so close to me be affected the way that it was, is what really got to me. Um, and it becomes easy to internalize those feelings. and let them grow, believing your peace somehow invalidates the pain of others. So it's important to acknowledge that these feelings are entirely natural, and it's a reflection of your compassion. So I wasn't the only one feeling this way. I have a lot of friends that, organized fundraisers and donation drives and are still, advocating to help the affected areas and help these people because FEMA's only doing $750. Like, they're literally people that are paying for the stuff out their own pocket. They are just letting people into, certain areas to see what is left, if anything. There are people that feel guilty. I saw a man that, like, he had me in tears because his house was the only house standing on his street. And I can only imagine how that feels to know that my neighbors lost everything and here I am, my house is okay. Like, how do you live? It would be hard for me to go on, but it's one of those where it's it's an unimaginable pain that you can't really describe. Um, so there's lessons, that you learn from that. So instead of viewing your own safety that sets you apart and makes you undeserving, try to see it as an opportunity to give back, which, like I said, I've got a ton of friends that have been doing some amazing things to help people, volunteering, donating, reaching out to those who are struggling, lending your strength. And I had people trying to encourage me to carry on with doing this, saying, hey, people still need a little bit of, sunshine through this darkness. But I couldn't find it in me mentally to pull it together. As much as I tried, I just couldn't. Um, I had a hard time enjoying myself. And when I did finally go out, it was like I had a good time. And then I got in the car and it's just like, but I've got somewhere to go after where I'm safe. And I've got an amazing support system and village that knows my heart. So they were very, you know, strong for me with helping me get through some of this. But turning your feelings of guilt into action, I've been sharing, things on my Instagram story where people can get resources. Like I said, I've been donating to so many GoFundMe's because it, that's the only thing I can think to do. It's not like I can go build a house, right now, but I have been looking to see when Habitat for Humanity is going to start doing that. And I would not trust me to build a house, but however I can lend a hand is where I want to be placed because it's sad. And I'm sure they're going to get involved. Right now, they don't have anything situated. So now it's just me emailing, trying to see. But any way I can help, I want to help because this has been the craziest experience, natural disaster wise, that I've seen in my whole time existing, of remembering that, I should say. But allow yourself the grace to process your emotions because grief is a sign that you care and you don't need to carry the weight of the world. That was a very hard one for me to really process. It's not just one person's fight, including my own. This is something that, as the way our community has come together, when I tell you, they are still giving out free meals, they are still giving away, you know, children's products, feminine products, hair care, because you don't have to look like what you're going through, to say the least. My son, who is 8, he was really sad. He's like, so the kids don't have anything, they don't have snacks, they don't have toys. And it made me feel bad, having to tell him, no, they don't have those things. And he wanted to do something. So we went and we bought, Ziploc bags, and we bagged up a bunch of snacks for, them to, to donate to the kids. So that way he could feel like he was a part of helping. I've donated, diapers, feminine products. It's just been so much, and I don't want to say I'm doing it out of guilt, but I'm doing it because I don't know how to help other than to give resources. And that's the only way I feel a little bit better about everything that's going on. And I don't like this feeling, but it's something I'm learning to kind of, I guess you can say, process. Uh, and just know that you doing that does create a positive change where people need it most. Uh, I'm trying not to get too emotional. One of the most effective ways to cope with guilt is turning that energy into action. Uh, like I said, continue to donate, continue to offer resources. And when it's time to rebuild, see how you can physically, help both um, your community, wherever is needed. Because it does take a collective effort. And right now, when I tell you it's beautiful, I'll also continue to offer compassion because a lot of people don't know where to start. And there are, with this current, hey, Micah, with this current government, we have no idea what is going to happen for everybody help wise. We don't. I mean, it's really a tumultuous time. But be gentle with yourself. Um, you're allowed to feel gratitude for the things that you do have and acknowledge your own blessings because it doesn't take away from the pain that others are feeling, but it creates a solid foundation where you can help more. Because if you're stuck in that place of sorrow, it will transfer to the people that are affected. So gratitude and compassion go hand in hand, and that was a hard one for me to accept, and it took me some time. Like, I just got to the point where I am okay with doing this, and I was having a hard time. Like, when I tell you guys, I haven't been journaling, but I did find an easy way that works for me to get my emotions out. So it did help, but just even going through the process of understanding what I'm going through and talking to my friends who have been going through similar, emotional, bouts that I'm going through as well. It kind of helped get my emotions back in check. So this was hard to come back to, but I am happy to be back. And I just wanted to be, I guess, a bit of positivity to anyone that is feeling affected. And understanding that you don't have to be perfect and have all the answers, but simply showing up and just being there will help spark hope into others. Um, uh, yeah, sorry, got a little emotional. But healing through the community also reminds us that it's okay to ask for help. And too often we don't think that we have it all together to be the strong one, to be the fixer. But healing doesn't require perfection. It just requires connection. And we don't have to have all the answers or solutions. We just simply have to show up, listen, and offer what we can. The most powerful aspect of community healing is the reminder that you're not alone. So when you see other people showing up, it'll spark something inside of you to have you help and lend your support in other ways. Lending an empathetic ear, simply being present, and your contributions matter. Um, it's not linear, and you learn that. So, like, a lot of people are going to experience grief over this for years, whether you were physically affected or not, because you've watched too many people suffer. Um, like I said, one of the ones that really affected me was, the man that saw that his house was still there and he couldn't understand why. There was a blind kid who lost all his braille materials, and now his house is gone. He's like, I don't have my toys. I don't, and that affected me. Seeing how an older gentleman in Altadena was trying to save his house, and they found his body on the front lawn with a water hose still in his hand. It's just been one story after another where it has been just emotional, knowing that so many people have been trying to save their generational wealth. They worked so hard for this stuff and it's gone. People that, they still have their houses that live in the area, and they don't know, you know, how they're going to continue because so much of the area is affected. So it's definitely been a traumatic experience, to say the least. But you'll get through it. I mean, I'm getting through it. It's been a challenge, but we're all doing it. Just continue to do what you've been doing to help people through this time. People are reaching their donations because people are doing, $10, $20. You don't have to give large amounts. Kind words, sharing people's GoFundMe, helps, because people will continuously donate. There are people who have hit their goals with their GoFundMes. If you see somebody that has certain things in their GoFundMes, make sure you talk to them about taking out certain words, so that way once insurance does, start processing claims, they won't try and deduct that from the claims, so that way they get their full payment amount from their insurance. Continue to set up drives, continue to donate. We're not out of the woods yet. Some of the fires are still, they're mainly contained, but they're not there yet. Just continue to be a light in this dark time, because it'll take some time to rebuild, but it can be done quickly. It will be done, because people are ready to come together. I've never seen such a beautiful situation when it comes to helping. But just continue doing everything that we're doing to, get through it. And if anybody needs to, get it out, you know how to reach me. I'm just a person. I'm just a person with a heart and compassion. And survivor's guilt is definitely one of the strongest emotions that, you can feel. But I felt like I needed to jump back in this on this note, because I know there are many people who are affected the same way that I was, and they don't know what to do. And if I could just offer a little support, that was how I wanted to come back into this after everything that we just faced. So if you're looking for resources to help, I will link a lot of them in the description of this video, just so that way we can continue to help people. There are still many drop-off donation sites that you can take things to, like the fire stations, because they were such a big resource with helping. It was all hands on deck. And just continue to be there for people, and not even just in California, because like I said, there have been other states who have had the same thing happen and they got no help. I mean, look at Hawaii. I think in Hawaii, FEMA was giving $450. What are you doing with $450? And I'm not saying that it's not something, but I do need a sip. You're right. But definitely keep going. and keep helping. Gift cards, that has been the biggest ask for a lot of things outside of the GoFundMe. So that way people can get the things that they need. Like I said, women still need feminine products. These kids are, some of these kids don't have clothes. So, unworn clothes. Yes, if you have stuff that's already in your closet with tags, that is great. But, buying clothes, gift cards, so that way they can go and get their kids the stuff they need: diapers, wipes, formula, whatever you can think of. That is always a great help. Like I said, I have plenty of people who are still setting up with donation site drop-offs. I will link all of that information in there as well, and continue to share on my stories on Instagram, where they're having things for the community, just so we can continue keeping, the victims' spirits lifted. And if you know of anyone that, has been directly affected that needs help, let me know, because I want to share. I want people to help as much as they can. So thank you for joining me tonight. I did not want to cry, and I can't help it because I'm such a crybaby. But thank you for joining me tonight. And let's just heal together. But I do thank you for joining me, and I'm happy to be back. I am thankful to be back. I am thankful to still have a resource. I don't have the biggest platform, but it's still something to help in many ways. So thank you. I appreciate you, and I will be back next week. So have a good night, and I will see you next Wednesday.